What's up, friends? I'm back with days 25 through 27 of my 31 Days of Horror Challenge. I got 3 new horror reviews for you guys today, so I'm just going to get started. Okay, first up we have Vampire Circus, and this is a Hammer movie. This movie came out in the early 70s, and this is at a time when Hammer was trying to update the type of films they were doing. The contemporary horror was coming in, and I guess the old standard vampire and Frankenstein movies weren't really cutting it anymore. So they decided to kind of update it a little bit. This still is a period piece. This movie actually kind of starts off like it's the end of another movie. There's like this young woman is luring these young girls, like really young, like 10 years old, to this count's castle where he feasts on them. And then she's actually still human, but she's in love with this vampire count. And then the townsfolk, they find out about it, so they come and they rush the castle. They kill the vampire, or at least put a stake through his heart. And they start whipping her. And then sometimes she goes back into the dungeon while they're burning the castle down. And before he dies, though, he cursed the town, saying all their children are going to die, and they were going to die, and all that stuff. And so 15 years later, the town is now besieged by this plague, and people are dying, and they're actually trapped in the town because the other townsfolk from the neighboring towns are keeping them there by force. Like, they're shooting at anybody who tries to leave the town. But somehow this vampire circus gets into town. Because there's not anybody in the town either. But this vampire circus, well, actually, this circus, well, you know it's a vampire circus because it's in the title of the movie. They come to town, and they're like entertaining the people, and they're happy to have a distraction from all the death and stuff like that. But the thing about it is, like this circus is way too good. Like, these people are transforming from animals into humans and stuff like that, and that should have been a dead giveaway to them. I mean, like, you got guys switching from being a panther into a human, and these male and female twins that turn into birds and stuff while they're jumping in the air, and they're like all just loving it or eating it up, not realizing, hey, there's something wrong with these people. At the very worst, at least you'd think they would think they were witches or something. But it turns out that the people in the circus, some of the vampires, are actually related to the original vampire that was killed all those years earlier, and they want their revenge. So these people are trapped now in the town because they can't leave because of the other townsfolk, and they're being feasted on by the vampires. There's a lot of nudity in this movie. I don't think this ever really played on television, but it probably did. If it did, it was probably really edited heavily because at the beginning of the movie there's like tons of nudity. And then even one of the acts has this one girl, and she's like a panther girl, and she's basically naked but just body paint, which I thought was a bit amusing. I enjoyed this one a fair bit, and this one also has David Prowse, who was Darth Vader. He's the strong man, so there's lots of scenes of him, so it's nice to actually see his face as opposed to being covered up with that Darth Vader helmet thing. Alright, next up we have Behind the Door. This is another 70s movie. This was originally my favorite Exorcist ripoff when I was a kid. This is a very odd movie. You know, basically it starts off with the devil addressing the audience, and there's all these candles, and he's talking to the audience. He's talking about how he used to be around all the time, but now, because it's the modern times, he has to hide and stuff like that. And then it switches to this guy at some kind of ceremony, where I think they're supposed to impregnate this woman with the devil's offspring, but he helps her escape, and as punishment, the devil is going to kill this guy, but he makes him a deal that if he helps steal her baby that she's having all these years later, he'll let him live. And then so he finds her, but at this point she's pregnant, and she has 2 children now, and like a boy and a girl. And the girl, she's really fallible. She's always swearing and saying inappropriate stuff. And the husband is a record producer, which is actually kind of funny because the theme song that plays when the movie gets going is actually a song that he's overseeing. And in fact, actually the credits stop for a minute while he has them restart the song because he didn't like the way it was going, which is really kind of funny. They use this gag again later on in the movie where the guy's walking down the street and the music's playing, and it turns out there's like this street band, and they end up harassing the guy as he walks down the street, and this guy's blowing this flute through his nose, which was actually kind of gross, but it actually kind of amused me, that little scene. So basically, the mother gets possessed, and it has something to do with the pregnancy. Like she has some kind of devil baby in her body or something like that. So she's acting all weird, throwing up and stuff like that, and spinning on her bed, her head spinning around. Basically, all the Exorcist stuff, but just not as cool. And the character Dimitri, he finally shows up. That's the guy that helped her escape originally, and has now made the deal with the devil. And he's coming to get the baby, and he's telling them that he can help with her possession. And they're all freaked out, so they agree to it. But it doesn't end all too well for him anyways. This is an okay movie. It didn't really need the possession aspect. It actually kind of cheapened the movie, like watching it all these years later. But what are you going to do? This is probably a fun movie to sit with your buddies and have some beers over. Okay, and last up, we have Mad Men. This is kind of like a Friday the 13th knockoff. I guess this was in production around the same time as Friday the 13th Part 2. So basically, this is like some summer camp that's really close to this house where this old farmer, Madman Mars, went nuts and killed his family. And I guess as part of their tradition, like to the end of the season, like the head of the camp tells a story about Madman Mars. Now he killed his family and blah blah blah. And if you say his name out loud, he'll come and get you and stuff. And one of the kids decides to hang back after they head back to the camp, and he finds the house. And he actually sees somebody in the trees, which should have freaked him out enough to head right back to the camp, but he doesn't. And so later on, the other counselors, they start looking for the boy, and they start getting picked off one by Madman Mars. Now, Madman Mars, he kind of looks like Bigfoot in overalls, basically. Like, he has no shoes, and he's got, like, long toenails and fingernails, and his hair is all wild and crazy looking. And, I don't know. It doesn't help matters that he doesn't talk. He kind of like makes animal noises, which kind of feeds, I don't. It's weird. Like even the camp is weird. Like there's just as many counselors as there are kids, which I thought was kind of odd. They had like maybe like a half dozen kids, and like there's like counselors for every one of them, which seems like kind of excessive. The kills are okay. Like I guess the main kill in this movie is one of the people. They have they're trying to fix his truck, and they have the hood up, and then Mad Mars jumps down and decapitates them. And later on, when someone goes to check the truck because they try to use it, they open up the hood and they see the head, but it's facing upwards when it should have been facing downwards. But I had to defend him at this point. If you're going to have a decapitated head, you can at least have it facing upwards, because the back of the head is not as effective as seeing the face of a decapitated head. I didn't really like this movie. Like I watched this movie like many years ago, and I hated it then. And I figured maybe with nostalgia, but I still didn't like it. I think the problem with this movie is that a lot of the characters are really stupid, and they do stupid stuff, which is pretty much par for any slasher movie. But it is out of print, so I'll probably still hang on to it. Alright guys, so that's it for today, and I'll be back in a couple more days with 3 more reviews. Talk to you all later.